The game of power is never played on the surface. It's played beneath, behind, and around the obvious. It's not what you say, it's what they think you meant. It's not what you show, it's what they think they see. And in this grand theater of perception, Law 21 steps forward with a wicked grin and a quiet nod. Play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your mark. Now that, my friend, is an art. Not a trick. Not a lie. An art. A performance so subtle, so disarming, that the moment you start playing it well, your enemies hand you the keys to their kingdom without even realizing they're doing it. Because in a world obsessed with being the smartest person in the room, the real power belongs to the one who can pretend they're not. Here's the problem: we're all conditioned to want credit. We want people to know we're sharp, capable, ahead of the curve. But power isn't about validation. It's about leverage. And sometimes, the greatest leverage comes not from outshining, but from dimming your light, just enough to blind them with their own. You see, when you appear smarter than someone, they get defensive. Their guard goes up. They become cautious, strategic, maybe even paranoid. But when you seem less intelligent, less experienced, less threatening, they relax. Their ego takes over. And that's when the magic happens. That's when they stop trying to outthink you, because in their mind, the game's already won. They've underestimated you, and they don't even know it. Think about how powerful that is. When someone underestimates you, they reveal themselves. They expose their strategies. They speak more freely. They make assumptions. They make mistakes. And you? You sit there quietly, the fool on the outside, the puppet master on the inside. Julius Caesar knew this. So did Napoleon. So did Talleyrand. These men, known for their brilliance, often disarmed enemies by acting slow, distracted, or uninterested. They'd let others believe they were drunk, tired, or confused, when in reality, they were 5 steps ahead. Because the moment you convince someone they're smarter than you, they stop competing, they start mentoring. And a mentor will show you all their secrets, just to prove they're better. It's not deception, it's direction. You're not lying. You're leading. You're guiding their gaze away from your true hand. And in that space of misjudgment, you can plant seeds, set traps, build influence, and walk circles around them, while they're too busy congratulating themselves for being the clever one in the room. But this law also demands ego control. You must silence the urge to show off. You must learn to smile when someone underestimates you, and nod when they explain something you already know. You must be patient. Because the power comes later, when they've shown their hand, and you reveal yours. That's when you strike. That's when you win. The most dangerous man in any room is not the one yelling. It's the quiet one. The one nodding along. The one asking simple questions. Because that person is watching, calculating, absorbing. That's the one who walks away with the prize. Let's bring this into the real world. You've seen it happen. In meetings, when someone acts confused, asking the obvious question, letting others pontificate and show off, and then later, that naive one delivers the exact insight that reshapes the entire conversation. That's not luck. That's Law 21 in motion. Or the job interview where the candidate plays humble, shy, maybe even nervous, only to get hired, and suddenly turns out to be the most competent person in the building. It happens all the time. And it works, because people love feeling superior. They love thinking they're the smartest. Let them. Let them talk. Let them brag. Let them believe they're leading. Meanwhile, you steer the conversation, the deal, the plan, without them realizing who's truly in control. But let me be clear, this isn't about dumbing yourself down. It's about crafting perception. You're not becoming less smart. You're packaging your intelligence in a way that serves your long-term goal. You're playing a role. You're playing the game. And like all great games, timing is everything. You don't reveal your full power until the moment is right. Think of it like poker. You don't show your cards until the hand is done. You keep them guessing. You keep them confident. And then, when the stakes are highest, you flip your cards over and watch their face fall. But there's another side to this law, one that's just as important. If you refuse to ever seem less intelligent, if you constantly try to outshine others, you will make enemies. You will provoke jealousy. You will push people away. No one wants to feel small. No one wants to feel stupid. And if you make them feel that way, even unintentionally, they will come for you. With vengeance. So what do? You make them feel smart. Make them feel superior. Feed their ego. Praise their insights. Ask their advice. While inside, you're 3 moves ahead. That's the seduction. That's the elegance. You become the student who masters the teacher. In negotiations, this tactic is gold. You let the other party believe they're getting the better deal. You act hesitant, unsure, maybe even slightly overwhelmed. And when they smile, thinking they've outmaneuvered you, you've actually secured the outcome you wanted all along. They leave happy. You leave in control. The ego is predictable. It wants to feel big. Important. Wise. When you give people that feeling, they drop their defenses. And in the absence of defense, power flows freely, to the one who is quiet, observant, underestimated. You don't always need to be the lion. Sometimes, being the lamb is far more strategic. Because no one expects the lamb to lead the lion into a trap. No one expects the fool to hold the winning hand. And that's exactly why it works. Look at the great con artists in history, not just criminals, but marketers, politicians, even generals. They all understood this law. They all knew how to seem humble, confused, incapable, until the curtain dropped and the truth revealed itself. And by then, it was too late. The sucker had been caught. And let's not ignore the human side of this. There's something deeply satisfying about being underestimated. About watching someone assume you're out of your depth, only to later realize you were the depth all along. That satisfaction isn't petty, it's proof that strategy beats arrogance every time. But here's a warning, don't take this law as an excuse to never show your skills. There are moments when revealing your brilliance is essential, when confidence is currency. But the timing must be deliberate. Calculated. You reveal power to establish dominance, then withdraw it to maintain mystique. It's a rhythm, not a rule. Too much of this law, and you risk becoming invisible. Too little, and you become a threat. The sweet spot lies in oscillation, between harmless and formidable, student and master, fool and king. Even in friendships and relationships, this law plays out. Think about the power dynamics in romantic seduction. The moment you make someone feel like they're teaching you, guiding you, shaping you, they feel invested. They feel admired. And in that space, they begin to open up, to soften. That's not manipulation. That's influence. That's understanding how the mind works. The tragedy is, many people waste their power trying to prove they have it. They walk into rooms desperate to impress. They lead with credentials, titles, monologues. And they wonder why people push back, feel threatened, or disengage. But the wise ones, they enter quietly. They observe. They listen. They ask. And when the time is right, they act, decisively, unmistakably, and with just enough force to never be underestimated again. The beauty of Law 21 is that it turns underestimation into a weapon. It lets you operate in the shadows while others shine under the spotlight, oblivious to how much of their power they're handing over just by assuming they've already won. That's the sweet spot. That's the silent takeover. And if you're truly playing at the highest level, you don't just seem less intelligent, you seem exactly as intelligent as they need you to be. You match their rhythm. You mirror their tone. You reflect just enough to keep them comfortable. And in their comfort, they become predictable. And in their predictability, they become vulnerable. This law isn't just about strategy, it's about psychology. Understanding that people don't always want the truth. They want the version of the truth that flatters them, that supports their image. And when you become the mirror that reflects their ego back at them, you gain access to their deepest insecurities and desires. That's the real prize. That's the real leverage. So play the role. Wear the mask. Bow to the master. And when they least expect it, become the master. Not with force. Not with arrogance. But with precision. With timing. With the slow, calculated elegance of someone who knew the outcome before the game even began. That is power. That is patience. That is the art of seeming less to become more. And that is Law 21.